The meeting will come to order. Ms. Gore, will you call the roll?
Mr. Benjamin?
Present.
Ms. Conley?
Present.
Ms. Williams?
Present.
Mr. Lamar?
Present.
Dr. Vial?
Present.
All right, we're ready to, let me ask, Dr. Dale Viox, since you're back up here, we're going to honor you by
was just
letting
trying to
you
be
do the
prepared.
pledge to the flag. Thank you,
Get
Mr.
out of Mayo's way.
Thank you, Dr. Viox.
All right. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence. Thank you. Citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens' comments, Ms. Gore? Thank you. All right, before we approve the agenda, I have a couple of things I need to go ahead and amend the agenda. I move to amend the agenda by removing item 10B. Do I have a second? And then I'll tell you why we're
Second.
doing that. Thank you, Dr. Viox. As you know, we had set out a bid for metal awnings for the covered walkway for Donaldson Elementary School, and the bid has come under $100,000. So the board does not have to approve this any longer, according to our policy 2.805. So that is why we're removing it. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. All right, the ayes have it, the motion's carried. Now I am replacing 10B. There's no complication to this at all. I'm replacing 10B with a recommendation, and this will be an amendment to the agenda, recommended by adding and replacing 10B with a recommendation to award a bonus for the superintendent. So 10B will be that recommendation.
So moved. Second.
Thank you so much. It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. All right, the ayes have it and the motion is carried. Thank you all so much. We got that all straight, so that'll be good. All right, let me have a motion. Let's have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Benjamin and seconded by Dr. Viox. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion's carried. All right, we have the agenda amended and approved. Chairman's report. The only report I have actually is very short. This Friday I'm going to a summer law meeting in Jackson, Tennessee, and I think a couple of you are going too, and it's always a good one. There's always a lot of good information, and we learn a lot as we go to some of these classes for TSBA. So it's called the Summer Law Institute in Jackson, Tennessee, and we have to be there by 7, so we will be getting up early. But I think it'll be very beneficial. Superintendents report.
Okay, I'm going to take up your time, Ms. Williams, because I've got several items to
Welcome
report
to it,
out.
sir.
And not all of this is my information. Some of this is on behalf of executive staff members who are on vacation this week or unable to attend the meeting tonight. And I'll get to their reports in just a few minutes. First of all, I just want to tell you our employees, even though we're out for summer, those of us that are, of course, 12 months or different time frames are obviously still working on planning for next year, and our summer camps are going on. Those are about halfway finished. Those are going smoothly. You may have seen a post. I think Mr. Hill did a post on Facebook of some of that, and there'll be additional postings of what's going on at our summer camp, learning camps, about halfway over. I also want to ask you or invite you to come on our showcase day, which will be July the 1st, and that will be at 11 o'clock at AMS and 11:30 at DES, and that'll be the ending of the summer launch camp. And basically it'll show off some of the things that the kids have been learning and that the teachers have been teaching. And we've scheduled these 2 different times because there may be some students that have parents that are attending both that will want to go to both showcases. So that'll be an opportunity for you all to see what's been going on over the past few weeks if you can make that. And feel free to stop by anytime. They're going on every day. If you can't make the one on July 1st, you can stroll through the building and anytime and see what's going on with either of those camps if you have the time in your schedule to do that. Next year, we are obviously in full throttle mode for planning for next year. We're planning InService, new teacher induction. You have a copy of the draft schedule for InService that's been provided for you. And again, you're invited to join any of those events that you would like to. You can kind of see a high-level overview of what's going to be happening at each of those events. The important one for you to remember is Thursday, July 29th, and that's the district-wide InService. We'll be back to our traditional format at the high school, and we've got some really good, fun things, light things planned as we bring all of our employees back together for that. So it's going to be a really nice time to pull everybody back together. Our theme for next year, if you've not picked up on it yet, is recharge, reset, and reconnect. And we've kind of hit on that a couple of times in messaging that we've sent out to employees, but that's the theme that we will foster next school year, and you'll see a lot of things built around that as we plan forward. You also have in your information the EPSO graphic, and that too was posted on Facebook at some point last week. And I just want to again point out the opportunities that are being offered to our high school students and some new records that were set this year. I'm not going to take the time to read through all of that since you have that in front of you, but if you weren't able to see that posted on social media, you have the graphic there to explain all those areas for you. And our programs are really doing well, and we're excited about that. And as we look forward to potentially adding some more in the future. I also want to talk a little bit about the grading scale committee and study that we're getting ready to start in the fall. I know I mentioned that back earlier to you all in the fall in an email, and I had asked Ms. Williams to sort of, I guess, poll the board and see kind of where you all were. And the information that she shared with me was that the consensus of the board was to look at, kind of sort of study that for a while or for this next year. And then if there is a change, then we would offer that as a recommendation for perhaps next school year. You've probably heard in the news, there's some school districts that have moved to go ahead and change their grading scale. There was some legislation proposed back in the fall. That was later pulled, but it's believed that it will come back again next year. There's a lot of things that go into changing the grading scale, such as course selection. More students may be eligible if you have a lower grading scale than are eligible now for AP courses and dual enrollment and things of that nature. So it will take counselors and administrators a minute to wrap their mind around all of that and have that available. So our plan at this point is to start that study in the fall. We'll have a diverse committee of employees, teachers, administrators, parents, other stakeholders, and I'll also be asking the board chairman to appoint a board member to sit on that committee as well when we get ready to start that work. We have the plan laid out. Our plan will be to meet periodically. Each group will have some assignments, some research to do, and then we'll come back together and hopefully be prepared to make a recommendation to the board at the January 2022 board meeting. And then that, if there's a change and you all approve it, then we will be able to move forward with spring planning as students are making those course selections for the following school year. And So I'll be updating you with that information as we move through that. But I do want you to know where we are on that and what our plan is. Unless you all direct us to do something differently, that's the plan moving forward, to study the grade scale policy or grade scale procedure. At this time, I want to introduce our new principal, Miss Miranda Manley, new principal of Donaldson Elementary. She's not a stranger to ACS, but she's new to her position, and she has hit the ground running. I went over there today with unannounced, just walked in, and she and the other elementary principal were sitting there having a powwow. So I tried not to stay too long and interrupt them, because I knew they were doing some powerful planning for the
Absolutely.
next school year. So, but I know Ms. Manley's going to do a great job at Donaldson, and we're excited to have her in that position.
Welcome.
We have Miss Marcia Davis, who is actually, she's not really scheduled to start until July 1st, but she did work last week, and then she's not working this week, and she'll be back next week. And so you'll actually get introduced to her at our August board meeting, but you'll probably meet her before then. But she's also hit the ground running in the area of accountability. She's going to be the accountability supervisor, taking the place of Miss Manley for that position, coming to us with a lot of experience. So we're excited to have her as well. At this time, I would like for Mr. Mickey Hudson to come out, if he can hear us.
If he's listening,
Come out, Mickey.
Did you hear us? I'm sorry, Mickey, that you don't have your dress pants on like you talked about earlier, but we're okay with that, okay? So, Mickey, we're going to recognize you tonight with a Plus Experience Award for all of the work that you've done over the years since you've been employed with our school district. So I'm going to read some of the comments that have been written about you for this nominations, because I think it really summarizes your contributions that you've made to the district. And so we thought tonight would be an appropriate time to recognize you for that. So I'm just going to read. During his 7 years at Arlington High School, Mr. Mickey Hudson has helped oversee the transformation of the TV studio and program. When he first came to AHS in 2014, the TV studio set was as bare bones as it could get. You have to remember that was also our first year as a school district, so it's not like funds were available for studio overhaul. Working with the materials he could find, Mr. Hudson created his own set and expanded the program to include new shows and content. In 2018, the district upped its TV magic by investing in a new set and equipment, and it's during that time that Mr. Hudson helped bring us into the new age with the use of high-definition cameras and a TV studio that mirrors and competes with the best TV stations in the business. And then came live streaming, a totally new way to immerse students into live TV and film. Mr. Hudson, with the help of Jessica Roberts and Peter Richards, began live streaming AHS sporting events throughout the year that has attracted thousands of viewers since it first began. Live streaming is more than clicking a button. It takes hours to set up and tear down, all while training and teaching kids to be independent self-starters along the way. Throughout all of these transformations, from building his own set to creating programming and live streaming, Mr. Hudson has gone above and beyond to see that the students interested in television and film have a path to learn and experience more. Mr. Hudson has also been a reliable and committed employee who is willing to go the extra mile even outside of his 7 to 2 workday. Besides joining us here once a month to film the Board of Education meetings, Mr. Hudson didn't skip a beat last year when COVID-19 forced the high school to quickly change its graduation plans. As you'll remember, the class of 2020 graduated in individual private ceremonies in the AHS auditorium due to social distancing. Mr. Hudson helped strategize a way to film all 485 graduates, walk across the stage, and edit them into a succinct and smooth graduation ceremony. The live stream ceremony took nearly 80 hours to film and edit, and Mr. Hudson was an integral part of the ceremony's success. The graduation ceremony was actually submitted for a National Public Relations Award, and if we win, which we'll know soon, we'll have Mr. Hudson in part to thank for the award and the recognition. Thank you, Mr. Hudson, for your years of service and for helping inspire the next generation of TV journalists and filmmakers. Congratulations and thank you. Now, I'm gonna give you a certificate, all right, and I don't expect you to pack this away with all the other stuff. This pen is small enough that it won't take up much space.
He needs the script too, that's all.
Where is it? Thank you.
That was a nice script.
He needs to give him that.
Okay, that concludes my information, and now I'm going to move into reports for staff members who are not here tonight. The first one is for Dr. Clark, and she's prepared these bags for you tonight, and that's just to show you some of the things that we'll be giving out on recruitment this next year once we are able to go out and recruit again. That's sort of their little swag bags they put together to get people to come visit your table and get the conversation started about why it might be good for you to come work in our school district. So that's one of the things that she's provided.
I was looking for the cookie in here.
It's not there.
You got spoiled.
We're out of
with all those
cookies. We're out of cookies. So real quickly, she gave a staffing overview. We've got a few positions that are open right now. Obviously, the principals and Dr. Clark are working very diligently to get positions filled. She'll be back to give you a full update of that in August, when hopefully all the positions will be filled because school will have already started by then. But right now, we've got a speech therapy position, and that can be a tough one to fill. So we're working on that right now. At Arlington High, she's got a couple of, like a social studies teacher, consumer science teaching position. Those should be filled this week. SPED assistant, safety compliance assistant position. That person moved into another position within the school. A couple of cafeteria positions. At Arlington Middle, we've got one teacher, one ISS monitor in the cafeteria part-time position. DES has a couple of teachers, and I know Miss Manley and I talked today. She's interviewing for those, has already filled one or two. SPED assistant, and a couple of cafeteria positions. So overall, we're in great shape with staffing. It's still June. We have until July the 1st usually to swipe people from other districts or Shelby County because they have to be able to give a 30-day notice. So that's the pressure that Dr. Clark has put on the principals now, because you don't know what you're going to get after July 1. Unless somebody moves into town or that kind of thing looking for a job, it's a little bit more difficult once you hit that July 1 mark. So she's pushing the principals to make those decisions now. As far as Mr. Ruff, he wanted me to go over a couple of things with you. I don't know if any of you have gone by the wrestling gym lately. I drove by there this morning, and there's blocks. It's like a building is there now, cinder blocks. And so he said the steel installation will be completed by June 30th. The roof will begin tomorrow. Installation of the roof will begin tomorrow. They've also started sealing all of the block and should be completed this week. They'll begin laying brick once the ceiling is completed, and that's coming very soon, I could tell this morning. The sanitary line has been installed across the football practice field. Air conditioners for the high school have all been received and will begin being installed tomorrow, which that's huge because some of those air units were coming in and some of them weren't. And so now we have them all, and so we're in a good spot with that. AES, there was a playground repair that was needed, and that should be completed by Wednesday. Also, resealing of the cafeteria wall has been completed. That's an ongoing thing. It's an old building. We have to do it ever so often. And we're also doing some other things with that wall to help protect it from the weather, that maybe we won't have to seal it and protect it as often. We've been looking at several options with that. DES, the parking lot's been sealed and restriped. And Mr. Ruff said there are many other projects going on, but these are the big ones right now. And so there's a lot going on in the area of operations. And I think that's all that I need to report about. Mr. Goforth didn't have a report. He's on vacation this week. Ms. Douglas, you told me you didn't have a report. Is that right? Okay. Mr. Hill, do you have a report? Okay, and Ms. Roberts, you'll hear from later with her financial report. And I did ask Ms. Speakman to give a report, so she's going to come and talk about her area right now.
I'm glad you said you asked me to, because then otherwise it made me look really bad that I had something to say. I just wanted to go over these policies with you just very quickly. All of them, with the exception of 4, are due to changes with the General Assembly. But I did want to give a special shout out to Mr. Overby and Mr. Winkler and Mr. Goforth. This was a collaborative effort on their behalf. They kind of got the ball rolling because as I am not a technological wizard as they are, they realized that some of our procedures and our policies had not caught up with, you know, what the district has done from a one-to-one standpoint and that sort of thing. So they pushed me to get all this to where it makes sense and it's all in one place now, and I think it'll be easier for everyone to use. So those are policies 1.805, 3.207, 4.406, and 6.313. So all of those are kind of grouped together and relate to nuances in our programming. The next one is 1.811. It's called Reporting Threats of Mass Violence. And it's pretty straightforward, but I think significantly what it has to do with is that there are penalties now in your policy for failure to report. So if a student knows about a threat of mass violence, then they are under a duty to report. That sounds like, well, that should have been the case all along, but it's now would be in policy if you pass this evening, and the same for employees. The next one is 4.301, interscholastic athletics, and you'll see a lot of yellow on that one. That had to do with General Assembly changes requiring coaches to now have a code of ethics. And this was done in collaboration with the ADs. They've all approved it, and the principals. And I think that these things are pretty significant in terms of what student athletes get out of playing sports. I know a lot of you played sports, and I did too. And it's really important that, in my view, and I think you would agree, that athletes get something out of playing sports other than just, you know, going and doing their deal on the field. You know, there should be more to it than that. So hopefully we've captured all of that. It also talks about the fact that we have to have informational meetings and that sort of thing with the parents of those students who will be participating in athletics. So it's a holistic approach. The next one is 4.401, and that pertains to textbooks. This is pursuant to a new state law that says that teachers are required to use state-adopted textbooks, and if they don't, then they can be in trouble. The next one is 5.113, InService and Professional Development, and it now says that teachers have to take a human trafficking course once every 3 years as opposed to one time during their entire career. The next one is 5.201, and that pertains to suspensions and dismissals. There was a change in the law in regard to notifying teachers that they would be non-renewed. In the past, we would hand people a non-renewal letter, but now it has to be by certified mail, although we'll probably still, you know, give them a copy too, but we've got to check that box. 5.307, physical assault leave, pertains to a misinterpretation that some people had about what the benefit was. I think we've always correctly interpreted what the law was in regard to physical assault leave, but it makes it clear now. 6.200, in regard to attendance, what this has to do are the tiers that we must now employ in terms of truant students. And they and their parents have to sign a contract if the truancy goes on. And there are several different criteria that are contained in the policy that must be satisfied now before we send these matters to juvenile court. So now the juvenile court will kick it back to us if we haven't satisfied all of these criteria that are required by the statute. 6.500 is special education, and it relates to changes in the law regarding isolation and restraint. Most of which, of course, we did without it really being in policy, but we're required to do that. So it spells those things out. I'd be happy to answer any questions, but I think they're all pretty straightforward. And if you have any questions as we come along to those, just don't hesitate to ask. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Speakman. And Ms. Williams, that concludes the superintendent's report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayo. Thank you, Ms. Beekman. That was a lot. But it was good reading, good reading. Financial report, Ms. Roberts.
Good evening. The financial report for April 2021 for general fund, we have revenues of $41.7 million, expenditures of $33.8 million. Nutrition fund, we have revenues $883,324, expenditures $866,784. Federal and discretionary grants, revenues $2,885,449, expenditures $2,886,728. CIP fund revenues $437,493, expenditures $2,397,507. The Interlocal Health Benefits Plan Asset Trust Report as of April 2021, year-to-date revenues $40.2 million, year-to-date expenses $31.2 million, beginning balance $4 million, and ending balance $12.9 million. And that concludes the financial reports.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. TLN report, I have no report. We're going to move to item 7, approval of the superintendent's contract.
Ms. Williams, before, I wanted to, I'm not sure if the board knew, you should have gotten a mailer in the mail, but thanks to everyone's advocacy efforts, 8 out of 9 TSBA legislative items this year passed.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, that's it. Mr. Lamar's got it. That's amazing.
I think it is.
So kudos to anybody that helped with that. The one didn't get passed because they couldn't find a sponsor. But other than that, I don't know that I've ever heard of every one
I
of their
agree.
initiatives passing.
I
So,
agree, I agree.
well done for anybody that advocated on behalf of public education.
And Ben did a good job too,
Yeah.
for sure. All right, thank you for that, Dr. Biox.
No?
Well, I got one question before I forget it. Are we still on for the boards, mayor and board of Alderman meeting this Wednesday night?
That's right.
Okay. Didn't want to mention, but I was gonna make sure we're still good. Okay.
And I was going to mention that when we got to that budget
Okay.
amendment item.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's talk about the approval of the superintendent's contract. First, let's get a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Benjamin. I almost called you Dr. Benjamin. Hey.
I'll take it.
Hey.
I've been called worse.
And second by Ms. Conley. Let me go ahead and go through some things that we did change here. We did extend Mr. Mayo's contract from July 21 through June 30th, 2025, so we did add 1 year to his contract. Also, there was a 3% increase in the compensation for the superintendent, and pretty much that is what we've done for the contract this year. Is there any questions? All right. We'll move on then. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. All right, the ayes have it, and the motion is carried.
Thank you.
Bless your heart.
We've extended it. It's too late now. All right, we'll move on to the next item. We'll move to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved to Dr. Biox and seconded by Mr. Lamar. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion's carried. Okay, let me see. Superintendent Mayo, I guess I'm turning this back over to you.
Okay. So the first item that you see is Resolution 2021-09 of ACS Board of Education amending the 2020-2021 schools budget. This is our regular monthly amendments that we make. I think we made some changes so that we could bring Miss Manley in a little bit earlier and go ahead and start her on principal salary. And then we also made changes to make sure that we could bring Ms. Davis in a little bit earlier, and I think those are what those two changes are. And it's listed as retirement, and yeah, all of that you have to calculate when you make a change. So that's what that change is for our regular monthly budget changes. So with that, it's my recommendation that you approve the amended budget as presented.
Okay, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Benjamin and seconded by Ms. Conley. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Next item?
Okay, the next item is Resolution 2021. Hang on just a minute, my screen just jumped. 2021-10 of the ACS Board of Education, amending the 2020-21 schools budget. This is the one that I sent you an email about, where we actually received an additional $600,000+ from Miracle, tell me where, from the County Commission. I lost my train of thought. From County Commission, which was an over amount of what we were projected to receive, which is always a good thing. Mm-hmm. So with that will change the overall value of our budget that we're finishing June the 30th. But we do have to get it amended because that money has to be shown in that budget. This is the item also, Mr. Lamar, that you were speaking about earlier, that will appear on the town's agenda for Wednesday night at their special call meeting, because they too will have to approve this, since it will change the overall amount of our budget. So this is a positive amendment to our budget, since it's $600 and something thousand plus in our favor that we receive. So with that, it's my recommendation that you approve that agenda item as presented.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion by Dr. Viox and a second by Mr. Benjamin. Is there any discussion?
Is that money targeted for a specific focus, or is it just?
It's just money that goes into our general fund.
Okay, so it's up to the decision of our school system to where it goes.
It will be, and in essence, that money will probably fall to fund balance, since this budget year ends in another week.
Yeah.
So that's money that's just going to show back up in our fund balance. And if you'll recall, I think I may have mentioned that in the email, I may not have. When we came earlier in the fall, I think we moved maybe $430,000 to give employees bonuses beyond what we had already budgeted for when the original budget was done. And my hope was that we would have enough money in fund balance to pay ourselves back for that. Well, this amount right here alone takes care of that, and then gives us a net of $200,000 more, and that doesn't count the other fund balance money that we will have from people that weren't able to go, out of town for professional development or conferences or that kind of thing. And Ms. Roberts will know better about that. Probably the second week of July, somewhere around there, when the books are finally closed. So that should put us in a really good position on that budget.
That's great. Okay. Let's go to 10B then.
Do we ever vote on that?
Oh, did we vote?
We did not vote.
Oh, we did not vote? I apologize. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, the motion passes. I'm just not gonna, well, I was just,
I interrupted with discussion is what happened.
it's perfectly fine. All right, let's go on to 10B. This is the,
Hang on,
what we have,
Mr. Chairman.
sure.
10A.
Oh, give you a time?
No, 10A.
Oh, 10A, I'm sorry, yes. Are you okay, or
You're
can I
ready
move
for me
on?
to do 10A? I've got to do 10A.
Oh,
The
did you
fees.
not do 2 and 10A?
I haven't done 10A.
I'm rushing, I'm sorry, y'all. I guess I'm trying to get y'all out early today. I apologize. Mr. Mayo?
Okay, so Resolution 2021-11 of the ACS Board of Education is the fee schedule for next school year, and that is traditionally what we've done at this meeting. The principals have all submitted their fees, and you can see on the attachment there any changes that were made in fees. Some of that is due to program cost increasing, as we've asked the principals, you know, if it's $10.49, then that's the fee that you put on there. You don't round it to 11. It's $10.49 is what we charge students. And you'll see both requested and required fees on that schedule. And this is the bulk of the fees that we know about now that will be going into the school year. But as you know, at every board meeting, we generally have an amendment for fees if something else comes up. A new club is formed, or fees change, or someone failed to turn in a fee that got on this. But this is the big bucket of fee items for next school year. So with that, it's my recommendation that the board approve the fee schedule as presented.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Ms. Connie, seconded by Mr. Benjamin. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. All right, now we're ready for 10B. I guess I'm getting excited about it. 10B, recommendation to award a bonus for the superintendent. Do I have a, well, let me say this. Let me just go ahead and say that I think what we're all of one mind in thinking that we wanted to award, make a motion to award the superintendent a $10,000 bonus because of his great evaluation that he had this year, the 2.975, and also because of the outstanding job that he has done in the school system this year. And we wanted to make sure that we acknowledge that great work and say thank you so much. So I'd like to make a motion that we recommend to award the superintendent a bonus of $10,000.
Second.
All right, we have a second by Mr. Lamar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, excuse me, any discussion? I'm sorry. I'm not going to let you discuss it either. I'm just going to push it through. No discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. All right, the ayes have it and the motion is carried. And thank you, Mr. Mayo.
Thank you all. I appreciate that very much.
We thank
If
you.
y'all want to
We'll
make any
learn.
comments, did y'all want to make any comments? I apologize, I should have said that.
I'd just like to say one thing, that I am thrilled to death with the way things have gone this year, the support of the executive staff and the teachers and everyone that have worked so hard, and you in support of them to get us through all this COVID education. And I just thank you, and I thank all of you too.
Absolutely. Any other comments?
I'm gonna say that, and I told you this once before already, you were the right guy at the right time for this job. Well done.
Yeah, agreed. It's just been honestly off the charts. I expected you to do a really good job in doing this job, and just then it got thrown a massive curveball, the one that just broke off the plate. And you know, what do you do with that? And you knocked it out of the park. And so I'm just very thankful for, and that extends to your staff. Obviously, I know, but you're our employee, and so this is, you know, this specific thing is about you and the work that you've done. So very, very thankful for the work that you've done over and above.
I'm sure there were frustrating times that we will never know about, where you had the game plan in and they moved the target. And then you go back in and you do some more planning and move the target again. So I'm sure we will never know as a board how frustrating that has been, but I'm sure since I am still in education myself and was a part of this at the college level, I never could dream of what it'd be at your level. So hats off to you for keep shooting for the target, and you hit it every time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, absolutely, I agree with everything everyone said, and I have to say that, you know, the buck stops with him, so he's done an outstanding job, and we really appreciate it very much. Thank y'all all for making comments. I appreciate that.
Ms. Williams, I just want to say
Please.
too, I appreciate your, the bonus is great. I appreciate that. The extension I really appreciate, because that's the vote of confidence that I appreciate, I guess, the most is the year extension on the contract. So I really appreciate that. That'll get me through 3 years of college. So, appreciate that.
That's what you think.
That's probably goes on the whatever plan, okay?
Okay, we'll move on to elections. Nominations are now in order for the office of chairman.
I nominate Kay Williams.
All right, Kay
For
Williams
chair.
is nominated. Are there further nominations for the office of chairman? Nominations being closed, members will now vote for the office of chairman. Ms. Gore, we're going to put you to work again. Will you
Did we get a
please?
second on that?
Oh, I'm sorry, nobody did, yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Lamar. Nominations being closed, members will now vote for the office of chairman. Ms. Gore, will you do a roll call vote for us?
Mr. Benjamin,
Yes.
Ms. Conley,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Lamar,
Yes.
Dr. Dion.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Gore, will you report the results to the board?
All 5 board members, yes.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gore. Kay Williams is elected chairman. Nominations are now in order for the office of vice chairman.
I'm nominating Ms. Conley.
For the office of vice chair, okay, Lyle Conley is nominated. Are there further nominations for the office of vice chairman? Oh, excuse me, I'll second that. Are there further nominations for the office of vice chairman? If not, without objection, the nominations are closed. Nominations are being closed. Members will now vote for the office of vice chair. Ms. Gore, will you call the roll?
Mr. Benjamin,
Yes.
Ms. Conley,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Lamar,
Yes.
Dr. Dion.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Gore, will you report the results, please?
All 5 board members reported yes.
Thank you, Ms. Gore. All right, nominations are now in order for the office of for the TLN representative. Anyone interested?
Well,
I have too much on my plate right
You got too much, Scott?
I will take it.
Oh, well, great. Well, thank you. Dr. Villas, are you interested? No? Okay.
I don't want to get in front of you.
No, sir.
I nominate Hugh Lamar for TLN representative. Do we have a second? Second by Dr. Villas. Hugh Lamar is nominated. Are there further nominations for TLN representative? Okay, if not, without objection, the nominations are closed. Nominations being closed, members will now vote for TLN representative. Ms. Gore, will you please call the roll one more time?
Mr. Benjamin,
Yes.
Ms. Conley,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Lamar,
Yes.
Dr. Dion.
Yes.
All right, Hugh Lamar is elected TLN representative. And thank you again, everybody. Well, are we ready to adjourn? I move that the meeting adjourn.
Before you adjourn, I have a question.
Sure.
I don't know when I put this in.
Go ahead.
I'm looking at calendar, and I know I moved this meeting, and I appreciate you guys moving it.
Sure.
Is there any possibility we can do that for our September meeting? Does that have to come
I
on? Does
thought
that
you
have to go
were
on
asking me about a September meeting. I remembered
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Is it possible to move that from the 28th to the 27th?
September 27th. I'll have to check my calendar, Mr. Mayo.
We don't have to do it now. If you want to look at your
Yeah,
calendars,
all
do it
right.
next month
I'll tell
or
you
whatever.
what, and I'll get back with you on
Yeah,
that.
that'd be great.
I'll send out something
Yeah,
and
thank
we'll
you.
look at that, okay?
Yes.
Anything else before we, yes, yes, sir.
Well, I need to say something about Dr. Viox here.
Uh-oh.
I understand that he's going to be the vice president of TSBA this coming year,
Next year, I'm treasurer.
treasurer.
Yes, sir.
But when's next year start?
He's keeping
Yeah.
the money.
I'm watching the money. It'll start in, at the not fall district, at the convention.
Well-
It technically goes through December 31st, but the elections will be during delegate assembly, so if you want to vote for me.
Yes. Well, I just wanted to say that I am glad that you are seeking this office. I don't think the board has had come here to have the vice president or president, which will fall in place, and I want to congratulate you for seeking this office. That's not my cup of tea, but it's yours, and I'm glad it's your cup of tea. And anything we can do to help, because,
You can vote for me in delegate assembly.
we will vote. We
We
will.
will vote. I was just going to say that. We will be sure and vote for Dr. Viox at the delegate
Who's going
assembly in
delegate?
November.
I think I am.
Yeah, you are.
I'm a non-voter this time, you better talk with people.
Okay.
Us three right here.
But
Mr.
anyway, I thought I
Benjamin.
might mention that. Everybody here may not know that, but I'm glad that Dr. Viox is pursuing that, and I think it's just a great thing that we'll have somebody from Arlington is the top dog, as they
In the
say,
state of Tennessee.
at the state level. So congratulations
Thanks, sir.
from me.
Appreciate it.
Well, from the board too. Congratulations. We ain't got you elected yet, but we're going to get you elected.
That's right.
It'll be the first one, well, this is the first really board of directors officer from any of the municipalities.
That's right.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's
didn't
right.
know that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Very true.
Nobody's done it.
Yes. Well, congratulations, Dr.
Interesting.
Viox. We're proud of you. All right, now, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Lamar, seconded by Dr. Viox. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, the meeting is adjourned.